if she was a day. And she said, you know, I passed you when you were in Rexburg, Idaho, and I didn't stop. And I saw you today, and I had to. And I told her what I was doing. She said, sir, just a moment, excuse me. She had 3 grandkids in the car. Oldest one was probably like 8th grader, maybe about 14, another one 10, another one about 8. She made those kids get out of the car and line up beside that car and listen to me. And she was one of those kind of grandmothers didn't mess around. You know, she loved the kids, but she'd have clipped them if they kept one eye on me, the other one was on Granny. You know, they're sitting there listening. And I tried to make it as an interesting lesson on the Constitution and what I was up to as I could for children. And when I was all done, she let those kids get back in the car, and before she drove away, she dug into her little satchel thing, whatever, and that old wrinkled hand, she had a crumpled $5 bill, one of those old kinds like paper, you know, it's like a little rag, it had been folded and refolded so many times. With that old hand of hers, she reached up and said, here, take this. And I told you I've taken a lot of donations. I wasn't doing it for donations. I looked at her, I said, I can't take your $5. That's my mind. I says, oh no, I can't take that. She says, take it. Well, okay. Okay. And she said to those kids, she said, before she drove away, she says, never forget this man. Never forget him and what he said to you. And before she drove away, she said, sir, it was an honor to have met you. I said, wrong. It was an honor for me to have met you. And I say that because so many people, I mean, I've taken up more time than I should have already. But you can't walk, you have a 6-month journey across the United States and not have these kinds of stories. I would like to write it up in a book or something. You have people do it. It takes a lot of discipline to do that kind of thing. But my big thing now is coming down off of this. 36 years in the classroom, 6 months walking, and now I'm home. And okay, now what do I do? So I've been doing talks. Schools are very difficult to get into. They don't know who you are. Oh, you're some radical. What are you going to say? Hey, my message is for everybody. It's non-political. And I want you to know that I left this trip with hope. Okay? Because when you peel away all this surface, you know, these onion layers, and you get down there, I can't tell you how good people are and how respectful people are and how hungry people are for something. So whether you're a Tea Party, Libertarian, Democrat, whatever, remember what I said about the projector or the light bulb. People all want to fix it. People all feel something's wrong, but they don't know how to go about it. And I wish I had the answer. I don't. I wish I could tell you this is the answer, but I don't. But I do thank you for allowing me to come in and share today with you, because I share with somebody this is very monumental thing. So thank you for allowing me. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
If anybody wants to hang around and ask a question, you can, you know, too. I know everybody's got a whatever, but...
I wrote a poem for you.
Okay.
Great. Thought you were going to be Thomas Paine. You were better. But this is a poem to Thomas Paine.
Yes, sir.
So it goes. Dear Tom, I must say I'm sorry for what we have become. With money as speech and speech as power, it seems democracy is dead. Millionaires and billionaires now make all the rules. The rest of us around our land are treated like aimless fools. So dear old Tom, I'm sorry. If you've seen our government now, if you witnessed what they pass and fail, I'm sure you'd have a cap.
Thank you. And my response is, if we all, remember what I said about lifting that car off the ground. You think your little bit doesn't make a difference? It does. So just simply ask. My grandfather used to say, Raymond, what you done for yourself or your country today, you know, at the end of the day? Well, you know, I did my homework, okay, whatever. But he really had that attitude. You ought to have done something for yourself or your country. And I would like to challenge all of us. What's the last thing you've done? And it doesn't mean walking across the United States. It might just mean writing an email to somebody, or writing a letter, or having a conversation, or whatever. But it's one of those anybody could have, somebody should have, but nobody did. And I'm telling you, if we all do a little, great things can happen. So I still do believe. I don't want to think the dream is dead. But I'll tell you, it's tough, and most people do feel something's ajar. And so I would spur you to activism, whatever that means to you. Okay? That would be my message.
I want to shake your hand.
Oh, thank you. I feel important. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay? If I have any questions or anything, you take off, whatever.
I wish I could stay.
I got here right at 12.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. It means a lot. It means a lot. It's a big journey. Big journey. Yeah, I know. Well, I think about some of these things, you know, and it's like, it really was. You know, like I said, it's easy to say, oh yeah, how do you do it? Well, one step at a time. You can make jokes about it and stuff, you know, but there were challenges. And, but I never did want to turn back. I never thought, oh, what did I do or anything. It's just, I tried not to look at it in terms of the really big picture, but more like small things. Like what I hated was mileage markers. I hated them. I didn't want to see them. Because it's like Chinese water torture. Because you'd see this milepost, and you know it was a mile till the next one. It's like, dang, ain't that far? Where if they weren't even there, I would do things like that next mountain range, or that next hill, or I'm going to cross that river in the distance. You know, I use those as demarcation lines rather than that steady 241, 242. And you know how many times I heard only 5 more miles? 5 more miles are actually a long time. 5 more and you'll get to this motel.
Sounds like you were really in the moment every moment.
I was in the moment, more than you know, yes. And it changed me.
Yeah,
And my challenge is to keep that home. You know, like if you've ever had like some special experience, a vacation or something, to not let that go, to you know, to use some of those adjustments to my attitude that I had to make in my personal life today. You know, and say, this too shall pass.
Well, I hope that you can video what you've done here today,
Well,
because it's important.
well, the hard thing is finding the forums. Because again, you know, I wrote the LCC down there in Eugene and the university, and people quick, hey, yeah, who's this nut? No, I don't think I'm a nut. Did I sound like a nut? I hope I didn't sound like a nut. I mean, kind of nutty that I did it, maybe, you know, and not everybody does it. But there's lots of people that do this too. You get into it, you find other people. And that's why, you know, some people raise cancer awareness or money for the poor. Well, for me, you know, it's the Constitution, Bill of Rights. And we can argue about the meaning. And what does speedy mean? What does cruel mean? What are unusual? There's a lot of more ambiguous words in there, you know, and so we can argue those things. But we ought to have a discussion. And people don't know where to have that anymore. You get them in classes, you know, and you might get them in some organization you belong to, but there's no public well anymore.
You can go
You
online.
know, what I mean by the public well, but the trouble with online is this. My son pointed this out. He said, you know, his grandparents and I are on different political wavelengths, okay? But he said, you go to your sites, and Grandpa goes to his. And it's almost like east is east and west is west. And what I see is people start to drift a little bit more because of that. Or you watch a particular news show or this show, where it used to be, you could argue whether the news was any good or not, but if we all watched Walter Cronkite, then we all got the same stuff, and then we could debate that, you know? Whereas if I'm watching something here and you're watching something, it just makes it harder for people to get together. People are hungry for it. People are
So we
hungry.
need to create a space where you can be and other people can meet without.
Well, and we need to, I agree.
Yeah.
You know, it takes, I know my wife has said, Lita, whatever, you know, it's like, I don't know. You know, I can tell you that you have more in you than you know. All of us. These are old. This is what I handed out when I went across the country. It's got my blog site and stuff, and on the back it tells why I did it and stuff. So.
So can I contact you at this phone?
Oh yeah, no problem. Yeah, if anybody wants a card, I'm not selling a thing. I am not selling a thing. This is what I passed out when I walked across. It has my website and oh sorry, thank you, and it also has a mission on the back as to why I did this. Okay. Thank you. Very good. Okay. Thank you. I was in Philadelphia in December. December of 10. I can look it up and tell you exactly.
She told me that she met some guy from Oregon.
Well, that would have been me. That would have been me. That would have been me. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I was there. Yeah, it's that's a small world. That's a small world. I was crossing Mississippi, and there was, I told you about the policeman that had to wait, and there was a little traffic thing, and I heard a lady toot the horn behind me. She says, "Are you from Oregon?" And I had a little Oregon license plate on the back. I said, "Yeah." She goes, "Well," I said, "I'm retiring from teaching and that." She said, "Well, maybe you know my son." Yeah, sure, Oregon, I know your son, right? Yeah. Well, he teaches in Eugene. I said, "He's a teacher in Eugene." What, he's a high school. What high school? You know, it's like, what did I say? What is it? I said, "Is it Churchill?" No, not Churchill. Willamette? Yeah, that's it, Willamette. Well, that's our school district. I was at the middle school, right? I said, "What's his name?" It's like, "Greg Newton." "Greg Newton? You're Greg Newton?" "Yeah, I know Greg Newton." I mean, it was kind of weird kind of, you know, it's like you wouldn't have predicted that. So I took her picture and sent it to the guy, you know. There's your mom through the side window and stuff. Very nice elderly lady. I would have never guessed it. "Yeah, well, that's cool. Well, you tell your sister that I'm back." "Okay, I did make it." Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Oh, yes. These are all leftovers. It was Target practice or something. There is no, I didn't. I stayed in. I know the little store you're talking about in Cantrell. There's a little campground right on the western edge of town. I stayed there. Because it's run by an Amishman, that little store. Because they told me about it, because you can't buy beer there and all that kind of stuff. So I ran into some construction workers. Shouldn't say this, but not big beer. Because, you know, not that I'm a regular beer drinker, but you don't drink beer when you're going across the country. That's another weight loss too, you know. But no, but I know the story you're talking about. Yeah, Cantrell, that was my record. I'd walked from, started with a C to Cantrell. And that was my longest walk. Yeah, it might have been Centerville.
I'm from Centerville.
No way.
Yeah.
I was in Centerville.
That's crazy.
No doubt. There's like a little square with the Civil War stuff, and so like statue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ate in the restaurants there and stayed a little joint there. And
Bluebird or Tusky?
you're asking me too much now, but yeah. So I walked from Centerville to Cantrell. That was my record. So you go do the Google thing, see how far that is. See if I'm BSing.
Get out here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, appreciate it. Okay. All right. Thank you. Make me feel like a star. Thank you. Oh yes, by all means. I got a million of them. Okay. Thank you. Okay, and I'll get that later now. Don't try to